Hi. I'm sorry if it's shaky. Um, I was going to make another video about the custody. I don't want all my videos to be sad. I'm trying to make them happy. I think I got something on my tree. The children started school this week. I don't even know where my kids are in school. The court just gives him whatever he wants. He doesn't even take care of the kids. He wants custody, and he doesn't do anything. I was the one that stayed at home with the kids for 10 years. And then yes, I made a mistake. Do I want to talk about the mistake I made? Not really, because it's been hard. And I will talk now when I'm ready to talk about it. But I have done so many things to improve myself and make my life better, and the court doesn't recognize anything. They just see you as an emotional mess because they're your children. They're flesh and blood. They don't even know what any of the kids they take care of, they make judgments on. They don't even know what the kids look like. They've never seen pictures of the children. They have no emotional connection to these kids, so it's all they know them as is names, not faces, not pictures, nothing. So it's so easy for the court to make decisions and be a rock because they've no reason to have any emotion. It's not their children. But if it was their children, then they would put themselves in our shoes. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. Okay, I'm going to say it, and I hate saying it, and I hate putting it out there. But I'll put it out there. In 2016, I got a DUI, and that is the reason why he's using it to take my children. Am I proud of it? No. But I was in a bad marriage. I had stuff that I hadn't dealt with from the past. And, I just was in a bad marriage. And if it didn't happen, I'd still be in that bad marriage. And, he decided to allow his father to control everything. These are people that I allowed to be part of the children's lives. He was married prior to me, and she couldn't have children. So I was used to give them grandkids. And once they got the grandkids, they didn't need me anymore. He had no respect for me throughout the whole marriage. Absolutely none. I mean, I've been trying to find a lawyer that would work with me. He's making all these accusations, and none of them are true. But he doesn't have to prove anything, He just says, oh, he had X amount of money in the house and no proof, nothing. And they just give it to him. And then he'll say, oh, he had X amount, he had $55,000 in the 401k. And he didn't produce any documents to prove it. Nothing, And then, you've no idea. Everything that I have told him, everything that's confidential in the marriage, he has brought up in court and turned it around. My son wouldn't eat baby food. I'm trying to not hold this. So I don't have to hold it. Maybe if I turn it. Sorry about the mess, but this is my situation. My son wouldn't eat baby food. And now he's going to the court and saying that I starved my son. Then he's saying that I hit my son in the mall when I told him that Connor was having a tantrum, and I was trying to make him, just control him by, stopping him from having a tantrum. And I told him. And now he's going to the court and saying that I was hitting my son in the mall and that I got kicked out of the mall. He's telling my oldest son, Connor, that I'm going to kidnap him and take him to Ireland. Connor went to therapy at All Fates, and he told the therapist that he was hitting him and pulling his ear. So he went to the court and had Connor pulled from that therapist after she reporting it to CYFD. For the last 3.5 years, I have not seen my children. I barely see them. He went to the court. He's a bodybuilder, by the way. He went to the court. He told the court that I hit him and the kids. No evidence, no CYFD report, nothing. And the court has spent the last 3.5 years keeping me from my kids. You know, I keep going back to court, filing motion after motion after motion, and the motions go nowhere. They just pile up and get disregarded. And then, you know, when they make a ruling, they tell you that you have 10 days to send in objections for the ruling. So you send in your objections, and they don't even read them. They don't even read them. 2 of my sons had their communion. I wasn't even allowed to any of my son's communion. Even though I'm the one that picked out Connor's communion outfit. I have no pictures of my children for the last 3.5 years. Nothing. You know, they start school. I don't even know where my kids are in school. You know, I've been living in my car. I've had nowhere to go. He's been living with his father since 2016. He's 46 years old. He has all his meals done. He's all his laundry done. He has everything done from him. He goes back and forth between his mother and his father. His mother accused his father of molesting the children. And the court still allows my children to stay with him. To be under his roof, even though his mother accused his father of molesting the kids. The court clinicians don't do anything. They just take his side. Everybody takes his side. You know, I just get thrown and disregarded like I'm nothing to my children. I mean, I protected my son. I didn't lavish my children with material gifts, which is what they're doing, buying them iPads, buying them phones, buying them whatever they want. And then they're going to the court and saying that they have no money. And then the hearing officer said that I don't support the kids' sports because he's told the court that he had no money. And I said, well, why are you paying for sports if you have no money? And then the hearing officer comes back with, oh, she's not supportive of the kids' sports. If I wasn't supportive of the children's sports, why did I take Connor to karate? Why did I take the kids to baseball? Why did I take Caden to wrestling? If I wasn't supportive of the children's sports, you know? I mean, he tried to take the car. He tried to, you know, he got the house. I got kicked out of the house. When I went back to finish cleaning the house, he went and he got a restraining order. Then he went to the courts and he told the court that I took thousands of dollars worth of furniture from the house when he had all the furniture in his father's storage. All the good, expensive furniture. He even had the $6,000 bedroom set that I bought. And when I gave him back the couch that was 12 years old, that had holes in it, he got another restraining order saying that I shouldn't have been near the house when all I was doing was giving him back the couch. And then he accused me of stabbing the couch. I mean, this person isn't right in the head. He's not right, you know. And his name is Paul Baca. He works in Sandia. He's not a good person. I know he's dating this other girl, and she thinks he's great, just like I thought he was great. He's not great. He's a narcissist. He doesn't care about anybody. He's a racist. He doesn't like gay people. These are the values that he's teaching our children. I mean, I have stayed quiet for 3.5 years. I haven't said anything, but I am tired and lonely from being kept from my kids. This is wrong. You know, I love my kids. I would do anything for my children. I've been living in my car, you know, because I have nowhere to go. I don't have parents to run to. I don't have a lawyer, a corrupt lawyer like he does. I mean, he has a corrupt lawyer that's just... His name is Edmund Perea. He's corrupt. He doesn't tell the truth in court. He just lies. You know, he said that I went to his father's house and that I threw papers at him. I mean, he's nothing to show that I went to his father's house. They said I kicked in the front door of our house when I have pictures showing that he kicked in the front door of our house. And I didn't call the police because he said he would lose his job. He said we would lose our home. He said he, you know, and I didn't want to be responsible for losing our home. Our marriage was miserable. He was horrible to me. He had no respect for me. He used to tell me shut my hole all the time in front of the children. He had no respect. He didn't care. He treated me like crap. And all those people that knew us knew that he did, because I had told them. And not one of those people are coming forward to take my side. I know with this video I'm probably going to get a lot of judgment, but you know what? I've had no one. I've been here going through this on my own for the last 3.5 years. Everybody just goes the other way and turns a blind eye, and no one wants to help. No one wants to do anything. No lawyer wants to help me because they want to get paid up front. I don't have any money. I'm in school. I'm studying law, but the court doesn't even know I'm studying law because they never even asked. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I haven't drank alcohol since the last over 2 years, and I'm way better without it. I exercise all the time. It's been an emotional roller coaster not having your children. Nobody knows what it's like when they're not in that situation. You don't know what it's like, and I've been afraid to make videos. I've been afraid. I would cry all the time. I would be upset all the time. I would think but I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to be upset anymore. What is happening in the New Mexico court system is wrong. They spend no time taking care of the cases. They just treat it like a conveyor belt. They have no idea what the children look like, so they have no emotional attachment. They just take the easy way out. I have filed at least 100 motions, and they all get denied. Every single one of them. All my objections get denied because they never get read to begin with. I've been fighting in court. I'm trying to get a lawyer that will help and support me. I've written to the news. I've written to Dr. Phil. I've written to the governor 3 different times, 2 different governors. I've contacted CYFD. I've told them everything that's going on, and nobody wants to help me. I am a mother. I spent 10 years with my kids. I love my children. My heart is broken because I don't get to see my kids. But I'm not allowed to cry because if I cry, I'm unstable. The court sees you as unstable if you cry. You're not allowed to be upset about your children. You're supposed to be like a stone, a rock, and not having any feelings, not having emotions. What am I supposed to do? I've been dealing with this for 3.5 years. I've been cut out of my children's life. They don't enforce the court order on him. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't have to do anything because they don't enforce anything. He goes on vacation with his parents all the time, yet he's gone on at least 10 vacations. He's gone to Disney, Texas, Las Vegas, Mexico. He can do whatever he wants because by making me this horrible person in the court, that gives him, custody. And he should never have gotten anything. I'm still fighting. I will never give up my kids. I love my children. I did everything to protect my kids. I would take them to the library all the time. I would do everything. I would take them to yard sales, even though he would knock me for taking them to yard sales because it's not Target or it's not Walmart. Once things are out of the packaging, it doesn't matter where they're from. They don't. They're $1 in a yard sale. As opposed to paying $30 in Walmart. When the kids were little, they would buy them Transformers all the time, and then the kids would take them out of the packaging and the pieces would be everywhere. And it was such a waste of money because the kids, they don't know the value of Transformers when they're little. And how can you be married to someone or with someone for 13 years and for him to turn around, take your children, move in with his father, and make you this horrible person? And then the court allow it because he has a corrupt lawyer and he just continuously lies about me all the time. He doesn't have to validate any of his lies because the court's going to give him his way. He doesn't have to follow the court order. He doesn't have to do anything. I'm begging if there's a corrupt family law attorney, because apparently an honest one isn't going to help, that can just play the game the way his lawyer has been playing the game. He doesn't do nothing. They're alienating me from my 3 beautiful boys. The website is down below. If anybody wants to check out my Facebook and my GoFundMe page and help donate, I would just appreciate it. It's been a nightmare. You've no idea what it is to have your children taken from you, to not see your boys, for your boys to not know why you don't see them. He wants to just cut me out of the children's lives. He would have been happy if I just killed myself. that would have been perfect. That was his goal. That's what he wanted. He's not a stable person. Paul Baca in Sandia is not a stable person. He's a narcissist. He's unstable. He's not a good person. He's not. He hates gay people. He hates black people, unless they're bodybuilders like him. He doesn't care about anybody except him and his mother. That's the only two people. She used to tell me that his father treated her, horribly, and she allowed. Her name is Ginny Schulte Baca. So much for a park above, She's not the person she's making herself out to be. She's not a good person. If she was a good grandmother to these children, she wouldn't do this to the children's mother. She's on the board for a park above in Rio Rancho in Albuquerque, or in Albuquerque, or in and she's pretending to be this great mother when she's a horrible person. The whole family is full of dysfunction. My ex-husband and his sister hate each other. They had no communication. He would keep me away from her. He would blame her for, the breakup of his first marriage. It's like, it's hard. I mean, I'm trying to get support. I'm trying to get my children back. I'm trying to, the teachers at Turquoise Trail that taught my kids, nobody wants anything to do with it. All they'll do is go to the court and tell the court that, oh, you showed up for the parent-teacher meetings. How's that going to help me? I mean, they saw me with my children. They saw me there with my kids. And all they can tell the court is that I showed up for the parent-teacher meetings. I love my kids. I wouldn't do all of this if I didn't like and respect my kids. It's taken me a long time to make this video because I was so hurt and I was so emotional and I used to cry all the time, and I'm still hurt. I mean, I'm still hurt. I don't have any way of getting my children without a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer. I can't get my family involved because they'll just make things 1,000 times worse. Our family is very estranged from each other. They want to know everything about me, but they'll tell me nothing about themselves. As soon as my mom died, my sister threw out all my stuff, all my memories. I've been in America for over 24 years. I moved here when I think it was 93, 94, I can't remember. It was always my dream to come to America, I'm a good person. I love my kids. This hurts me so much. It hurts me. I don't want to stop making this video because then I'll forget everything I want to say. But there is so much to the story. I've written a lot about it on my Facebook. I've also written a lot on it on my GoFundMe page. As I said, the link is down below. I mean, if you can help in any way, shape, or form, I would appreciate it. Think of it if this was you and you were in this situation. I know it's easy for people to say, oh, I would never be in this situation. You don't know. You don't know. I mean, you don't know. I never thought I'd be in this situation either. I mean, if I didn't care about my kids, why am I staying in my car? Why am I staying in New Mexico with no family, no friends, nobody? I go to school and that's what's kept me going. I go to the gym. I work out all the time. And, I'm trying to stay. It's hard, because people treat you like a homeless person. They treat you like a homeless person. I don't really consider myself homeless because I have my car. And if it was up to him, I wouldn't have my car. The only reason I have my car is because it had the interlock. If it didn't have the interlock, he would have taken the car too. And I would have gotten his 13, 14-year-old car with like over 250,000 miles. That's what he wanted. He wants to take everything. He has the key to my Pathfinder and he won't even give it to me. And the court's not making him give it to me. I mean, I've been patient with the court and the court's not doing anything. They just take his side. He can do no wrong in the court because the court wants to take the easy way out. They'll take the whatever way is easiest, who has the most money, you know. Not who's the best parent for the children, it's who has the most money. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter all the dysfunction in his family. His uncle shot himself in the head. His other uncle is high on drugs all the time. His whole family is full of dysfunction, but they don't see any of that. I mean, his mother accused his father of molesting my children, my two oldest boys. You know, Connor tells the therapist that he's pulling his ear and hitting him, and he gets rewarded. You know, I was going to supervision with my children in Rio Rancho. Everything was going perfect. You know, I of course, it was hard at the beginning. And, you know, one day I went in there, I was waiting in the room for the kids to come. And I just heard a whole lot of commotion. And Lisa came in to me and told me that I asked her, I said, what was all the commotion about, or the arguing? And she said it was because, you know, she told him that the kids were out of control. And he went to the court. Instead of telling the truth, he made up some story about it being stressful for the children going over the Rio Grande Bridge, and which is nothing true. His mother lives over the Rio Grande Bridge. You know, the children were going to counseling 2 doors down, but he had the court change the visitation to a horrible place, 2 different horrible places in Albuquerque, because if I like something and it's going well for me and the kids, he's not happy. He's not happy unless he makes things horrible for me. Paul Baca is a bad person. I'm telling you, he should not be working for Sandia. He's got a huge temper. He kicked in the front door of our house. I have pictures and videos to show that he kicked in the front door. The reason I didn't call the police is because he told me he'd lose his job. When he worked in Los Alamos, he could never get a reference. Nobody could give him a reference. You know, he told me that the only way that the women got to the top is by sleeping with the boss, you know, giving the boss blowjobs. And that if you weren't like an ass, lick up to the boss, you know, you wouldn't get promoted. I mean, what is the reason why he never got a reference when he left Los Alamos after 12 years? You know, the only place he could get a job was Sandia because his uncle Denny Baca works there. If his uncle wasn't working there, he would never have gotten in there. You know, when I married him, he told me we were going to move to Florida. And later on, when things started to turn, it's like, oh, it's Obama's fault we can't move to Florida. He hated having a black president. Like, he absolutely hated. I mean, he thinks he's smarter than everybody. He thinks he's smarter than the president, you know. He's not a good person. He doesn't have a good heart. He doesn't care about anybody. You know, if he was a good father, he wouldn't do this to the mother of the children. I love my boys. It is wrong that I've been kept from my children for over almost 4 years. That's 4 summers that I don't get to be with my children. All the children's birthdays, all the children's field trips. I never got to meet the children's teachers. You know, I was painted as this horrible mother, and he didn't have to prove anything. You know, he's had Christmases, he's had Thanksgiving, he's had vacations. He gets whatever he wants, and I get nothing. And I'm supposed to be content with getting nothing. I'm supposed to rely on the court system by keep filing motions that just get thrown out. They don't even acknowledge my motions. They don't read any of my motions. They just throw them out. You know, they just take his side. I mean, he breaks the court order and nothing happens to him. He's broken the court order. Caden and Colin are supposed to be attending All Faiths counseling. And Connor too. I mean, they pulled Connor because he was hitting him and pulling his ear, and put Connor in Dr. Shuley, who's telling Connor that, or saying, you know, he's never met me, but he's telling the special master that I was going to kidnap Connor. I mean, where did Connor get that information that I was going to kidnap him and take him to Ireland? All of the personal stuff, every single personal stuff that I told him in confidence, he's just spilling it out in court, like anything confidential. He's got no morals, like none. He's got a vicious temper. He takes all these stuff for working out that makes him, sorry, my thing is blurry, that makes him extremely aggressive. You know, he had a temper. I mean, one time I went down to the gym. I was at the gym, and you know, I was working out. I was on the elliptical machine, and just as I was about to finish, this pastor, close the door. This pastor got on the elliptical, and I stayed on another hour talking to him like he was, an African American pastor. And then I left and I went back to the house. And when I got back to the house, he was in the kitchen and he asked me how was my workout. I said it was fine, and I told him about what happened with the pastor. He went nuts, like he went absolute crazy. I couldn't even sleep with him that night. He was so mad that I had spent a whole hour talking to a black pastor at the gym. He was like livid. And I was like completely shocked. I was like, why is he so mad? And then the next day, I went back to the gym again. And when I was at the gym, I was so upset, like, about the way that he had, sorry, I moved this back. I was so upset about the way he had overreacted, and in front of the children too, by the way, that I ended up leaving the gym and I ended up going to Dillard's to my friend Karen. And I was talking to Karen for like an hour because I just needed somebody to talk to. And then, after that, I went back to the house. So when I got back to the house, this is just one example of the way he was. And the court doesn't even know it. When I got back to the house, he asked me where I was. And I said I was at the gym. And then he goes to me, no, you weren't. And I was like, yes, I was. And he goes, no, you weren't. And then I was like trying to put two and two together. I was like, what does he mean? What is he talking about? And then I found out that he had put the children in the car and followed me to the gym. And when he couldn't find me, in his mind, I was giving the black pastor a blowjob in the parking lot. That's what he had created in his mind. And here we go again, like a big blow up, like he went crazy again, like a big blow up in the house, all because that's what he believed in his head. And then it even gets worse than that. The children were in baseball, and, a teacher or a parent had to, they had to volunteer. One parent had to volunteer to go pick up the trash in the baseball field. So he went down to do that. Okay. And then he comes back and then he told me, oh, I met this woman at this mother at the baseball field. And I was talking to her about the pastor. And he goes, and she said that he was a pedophile. I said, what? He goes, yeah. She said she knows him and he's a pedophile. Now, this black pastor was volunteering at the gym, by the way. And this is a community gym where there's loads of children. So why would they allow a pedophile to volunteer at the gym? And I was so shocked. Like, is this what he's coming back with? That this guy is a pedophile? So I ended up calling the gym and telling them what he had said. I said, he's telling me that this pedophile, that this black pastor is a pedophile. And they go, that's crazy. Why, they do background checks. I have to turn on the window because it's hot. They do background checks, and, they would never, that's not true. Anyway, that's what he was trying to convince me, and that's just one of the stories. Another story was when we were getting the house in Santa Fe ready to move, even though I wasn't on board with moving. I was on board with getting the house cleaned up, but I wasn't on board with the moving. We had agreed that we were going to put laminate in the bedroom upstairs, in our master bedroom, because I always wanted to learn how to do laminate. Anyway, he told me, oh, my uncle, like his mother had told him that Uncle Timmy, this is the drug addict, oh, he knows how to do laminate, and he'll do an amazing job with the laminate. And I have pictures of this too, by the way. So I said, okay, Timmy can do, we can pay him, we agreed to pay him $100 a day. And, I thought, oh, he can teach me how to do the laminate. And that's not what happened. We went to Lowe's and we bought expensive laminate. I don't remember. There were at least 40, if not more, dollars a box. And, Timmy had all the supplies. And I hate holding this. It's too heavy. Let me see if this is better. Oh, sorry. I have to find a better way to do these videos. Anyway, so we bought all the laminate, and Timmy was supposedly having all the supplies. So, we were all set to do the laminate, and I was all excited to learn how to do it. So anyway, Timmy came by at 9 o'clock at night. So I didn't really understand why he was coming by at 9 o'clock at night. So I made up the futon for him. So, because I thought, oh, maybe he wants to go to sleep and get up early in the morning and start on the laminate. Anyway, he wanted to start on the laminate at 9 o'clock at night, which was absolutely crazy. But I said I wasn't going to fight with him about it, so I let him do it. So anyway, he kept cutting the boards, and he would put them down, and he would pull them up, and then he would put them down again. Anyway, by 1 o'clock at night, there was really nothing getting done. So I just ended up going to bed. So, to fix this. It's just a workout time. So I ended up going to bed, and I figured I'll get up in the morning and I'll see what it looks like. So anyway, I went to bed. I got up in the morning, and it was just a disaster. I mean, you have to look at the pictures that I took of the laminate. It was a disaster. I was like, oh my God, this guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing. So I had told my ex about, the laminate. I said, he doesn't know, he's cutting all our good boards. It doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. And his mother had literally sang his praises and said, oh, Timmy knows how to do the laminate. He basically didn't want me in the room. He didn't want to teach me. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just cutting all our boards. And these are expensive boards. So I had told my ex how I felt, and he wasn't going to say anything to his mother. He preferred to say stuff to me than he would to his mother. So he basically didn't say anything. So anyway, the second day, nothing was still done. And he said, Timmy said, I have this friend that owes me a favor, and I'm going to ask him to come by and help me, and we're going to knock it out. So anyway, his friend that owes him a favor came by, and I was in the other room. I was trying to pull up the carpet in Connor's bedroom, and I wanted to pull it straight so that I wouldn't, the radiator wouldn't get damaged. So anyway, of course, I needed a second person to help me pull the carpet straight. And I went in and I asked Timmy to help me. And instead, he sent his friend into the bedroom to help me. And then he said, so his friend came in, and just without even a second thought or nothing, he got the carpet and literally pulled it like a triangle. He pulled it straight across, almost pulling the radiator off the wall. It was exactly what I didn't want. And then I had to go back and fix all the rods individually. I was pissed. I was so pissed. I had to go back and fix all the rods. Again, I told my ex, and nothing. He said nothing. So anyway, by the third day in the morning, I had called the mother, and his mother, my ex-mother-in-law, ex-monster-in-law, I should call her, Ginny Baca, Park Above, Joke. Anyway, Ginny Vera Baca, she's a fake person. She's not, she's fake. You know, she shows up in court with her ex-husband, pretend like supporting him after she accusing him of being a molester. Anyway, I called her, I texted her, I said, I don't want him by the house. I said, don't send Timmy, he's fired, I don't want him. So I ended up having to pack up everything, all on my own, like 13 boxes of laminate. No help from my ex, nothing. And putting them all in the car and taking back to Lowe's. Because it was discovered afterwards that the laminate, the expensive laminate, was all warped. And he never told us. Instead, he was like cutting it without telling us. And so then I had to go to Lowe's and I had to fight with Lowe's to get the money back, you know, and they weren't going to give me my money back, and I was just pissed. Like, you know, he never helped me with anything. I had to do it all myself. And then I ended up going to the Home Depot, and I ended up buying the laminate for $10 a box, and I ended up buying the saw, I ended up buying everything, and I did it myself. And I was so proud of my, because I you know, I had watched loads of YouTube videos, and, you know, I was so proud to do it. And it came out really well for somebody. Sorry, turn off this. It came out really well for someone that had never done laminate. Anyway, his mother, prior to that, of course, sorry if I'm all over the place. So I told him afterwards, I said, you know, by the way, I said, your mother never apologized to me for, you know, sending Timmy over here. And you know what he said? He goes, she apologized to me. That's what he said. She apologized to him. After all the stress that she had put me through, she didn't even apologize. So anyway, prior to that, when Colin was 4 months old, or when he was little, if you want to see the pictures of my boys, go on Facebook and you'll see all the beautiful pictures of my kids. Anyway, when Colin, you know, we had flagstone, and we were going to flagstone like a patio in the backyard. So I figured I was doing the patio with him. I mean, that's what I understood. Anyway, his mother comes by with a mixing machine, a cement mixer, and she had her ex-boyfriend, Frank. I don't know what his last name is. He's a mechanic. So, and him. So they were outside in the backyard while I was inside watching my son, instead of me being out in the backyard, because it was our backyard, not his mother's. And then I would go out there and I would say, you know, they'd say, you know, which side do you prefer? Do you prefer the rough side, or do you prefer the smooth side of the flagstone? And I said, yeah, I prefer the smooth side. So then once I went back into the house, they would turn it over to the rough side. I mean, they didn't even have, the flagstone was as bad as Timmy's laminate. They had spacing. You could put your whole hand in between each flagstone, which is not the way it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be like a little, like maybe a finger. That's how much, instead of this much. But they didn't care. Like, they didn't care. They just did it the way his mother wanted to. His mother came first. In our whole marriage, his mother came first. You know, I mean, one time he was going to Los Alamos, and he was getting an operation on his sinuses. And I didn't know who was going in with him. I actually thought his mother was going in with him, because, you know, he hadn't discussed it with me, and I didn't know. I thought I was watching the kids, and his mother was going to go in and do be there for him, because that's how close they were. The only time he didn't talk to his mother is when she accused him of, you know, his father of molesting the kids. He didn't talk to her for 2 years. And, you know, I could have used that time to get a divorce, get a separation, file restraining. I could have, but I never did that to them, because I'm not like that. I would never do that. Anyway, as it turned out, for his nasal operation, just like probably the day before, he goes, oh, my mother is going to watch the kids, you know. I mean, that's like how our marriage was. I had no idea. You know, everything in the marriage, anything bad in the marriage, I had to take the blame for, because I had to protect his job. And anything good in the marriage, he would take credit for. I mean, for instance, we planted 2 Christmas trees. One was in the front of the house and one was in the back. And the one in the back was all deformed. It didn't grow right. So he would take the credit for the one in the front that grew perfectly, and it was my fault. The one in the back was deformed. I mean, when Connor had his tantrums, and I used to videotape Connor's tantrums, he said it was all my fault. He said Connor was having his tantrums because of me. He just wanted to blame me for everything. I'm just going to take a break right now because I'm tired. I've been doing this, but I'm definitely going to pick up. And you know what? If you have questions, you can also email me. I'll put my email in the link description, and you can email me. Okay? Thank you.